The United States seizes a Venezuelan oil tanker bound for Cuba in the southern Caribbean. House Democrats introduce articles of impeachment for both Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And after financially propping up Obamacare for a little while longer appears to be impossible, Republicans finally propose alternatives. I'm Tony Kinnett, host of the Daily Signal's Tony Kinnett Cast, syndicated nationally at 7 p.m. Eastern. It is Thursday, December 11th, 2025. This is the Daily Signal's top news in 10. Late yesterday afternoon, the President of the United States announced that the U.S. military had seized a Venezuelan oil tanker bound for Cuba.
It's been an interesting day from the standpoint of news. As you probably know, we've just seized a tanker on the coast of Venezuela, a large tanker, very large. Largest one ever seized, actually.
The president also suggested that Colombia's president might have a few concerns of his own if he continues participating in the illegal manufacture of narcotics as well.
No, I haven't really thought too much about him. He's been fairly hostile to the United States, and I haven't given him a lot of thought. He's going to have himself some big problems if he doesn't wise up. Colombia is producing a lot of drugs. They have cocaine factories that they make cocaine, as you know, and they sell it right into the United States. So he better wise up, or he'll be next. He'll be next too. I hope he's listening. He's going to be next.
For these military actions, Representative Sri Thanedar, Democrat of Michigan, has announced articles of impeachment against Secretary of War Pete Hegseth.
Hello, this is Congressman Sri Thanedar. Today, I introduced articles to impeach Secretary Pete Hegseth for murder and conspiracy to murder and reckless and unlawful mishandling of classified information.
And in another rather surprising impeachment proceedings filing, Representative Haley Stevens, also of Michigan and a Democrat, announced impeachment proceedings for Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the Secretary of Health and Human Services.
RFK Jr. has got to go. Today, I introduced articles of impeachment to remove him from office. RFK Jr. has turned his back on science, on public health, and on the American people. Under his watch, families are less safe, healthcare costs are skyrocketing, and life-saving research, including right here in Michigan, is being gutted. RFK Jr. is the biggest self-created threat to our health and safety. I cannot and I will not stand by while one man dismantles decades of medical progress. Enough is enough. And that is why I'm pushing to impeach RFK Jr., to hold him accountable, and to protect the health, safety, and future of every Michigander. Because our health, our science, and our future are worth fighting for.
Your ears did not deceive you. Representative Stevens didn't list any misdemeanors, crimes, or particular issues that would lead to a possible impeachment of the Secretary of Health and Human Services. And perhaps uncoincidentally, House Democrat leadership from Hakeem Jeffries over to the various minority whips and committee leaders had nothing to say in response to either of these impeachment filings. And speaking of doings in Congress, there appears to be additional scrutiny levied against the Obamacare or Affordable Care Act subsidization talks that were promised to occur in December as a means of ending the last government shutdown. The issue that has now come to the floor is that there appear to be a series of holes in the Obamacare subsidization and grant approval process. This was pitched over to Representative Sarah or Tim McBride of Delaware, who didn't respond particularly in a friendly manner to being shown a possible method of fraud being used to obtain Obamacare funds.
Government watchdog groups set up a number of fake accounts and discovered that 90% of Obamacare subsidies were actually granted without any documentation, no social security number, no income verification. What do you make of this, and why do you guys want to continue to extend a program that's clearly failed the American people, especially for another 3 years?
Well, I don't think the American people think that it's failed the American people, and that study, quote unquote, sounds like bullshit.
Well, it's right here. I actually have it.
Yeah, but it sounds like a bull study, not a bull methodology.
So because it sounds like BS, you just say that it's no good? I mean, I can show you it right here. New York Times reported on it.
Sounds like the methodology is pretty questionable.
Speaker of the House Mike Johnson also described a separate study in which the Obamacare Affordable Care Act healthcare plan was disastrous, not only in its policy foundation, but also its finances and its rollout.
A new report by the Government Accountability Office, which I haven't seen too much written about yet, you should look into that, it is an eye-opener as well. It makes clear why it would be a dereliction of duty to just extend subsidies without massive reforms to them. Okay, over the last 2 years, this is investigators at the Government Accountability Office. Okay, they submitted 24 fraudulent applications for the ACA subsidies, the Unaffordable Care Act subsidies, Obamacare. Okay, of the 24 fraudulent applications that they created intentionally to just see what would happen, 23 of them were approved. These applications were completely fraudulent. The investigators did not submit any Social Security numbers, citizenship documentation, or reported income documents. And 23 of the 24 applications were still approved. 18 of those, by the way, are still receiving coverages they were as of September of this year. That means the Obamacare exchange and insurers didn't verify any of the information they're supposed to under the law, and they proceeded to pay tens of thousands of dollars to insurance companies for people who do not exist. Okay? The GAO report also found that 29,000 Social Security numbers in 2023 and 68,000 in 2024 were used to receive more than 1 year's worth of insurance coverage. In other words, multiple people were utilizing the same Social Security numbers to openly defraud the American taxpayers. The GAO also found that more than $94 million was sent to insurers on behalf of dead people. Okay? This is the system that Democrats in Congress want to extend without reform. It's unbelievable.
While some Republicans have put forward measures that would extend some of the Obamacare subsidies temporarily, Senator Rick Scott, Republican of Florida, among others, have suggested this is not enough and has criticized simply extending a broken program forever as foolish and irresponsible.
Well, I'm going to keep focused on how do you drive down cost. So I've got a bill out there. It's been supported by August Pfluger in the House with the Republican Study Committee. So I think it's and if you look at polling, that's what people want. You know, if you're going to support somebody for their health care, like we support people, you know, that need help for their food stamps with food, we ought to give it to them in a, you know, I call them Trump freedom accounts. Give it to them, let them make their decisions. So I'm just going to keep working on it. I think we'll get it. I'm optimistic we'll get something done because people are fed up. People are mad.
In response, Representative Pfluger over in the House and Senator Rick Scott have put forward a, quote, more affordable care act as a Republican-led healthcare reform bill. The bill aims to address the impending expiration of the enhanced ACA premium subsidies by the end of 2025 and starts moving the healthcare model towards a more HSA consumer-controlled health services account. But don't take my word for it. We'll talk to Senator Rick Scott later on the Tony Kinnett Cast to get a bird's eye view of what this particular healthcare fix entails and whether or not it's finally going to deal with the nightmare that Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act have become. You can find a link down to subscribe to the Tony Kinnett Cast in the description, where you can always join us at 7 p.m. Eastern for a roundup of the day's news and nonsense. I'm Tony Kinnett, and this has been the Daily Signal's top news in 10. Take care.